This video is to review a new pet, King Biscuit. This is a first impression video, and I just would like to share some thoughts that I have on him. Let's start with the skills. First skill, Icy Storm. Summons an Icy Storm under the enemies. The storm deals magic damage and prevents enemies from receiving any healing from anyone but themselves for 5 seconds. What does it mean is that Martha, for example, will not be able to heal other heroes in your team when her T-port is active if Icy Storm is active at the same time. However, the skill will not block vampirism or self healing, for example, from the patronage of Oliver. So all the pets, they activate their primary skills at the same time on the 15 seconds of the fight, which means that Oliver and Biscuit, they will activate their skills at the same time, and Oliver will not be able to heal team of opponent with his first skill. Next skill is Mighty Snowball. Biscuit creates magic snowball and throws it at the first enemy who heals themselves. The snowball deals magic damage and slows the enemy down. This skill is intended to block vampirism and other kinds of self-healing. For example, when Martha heals herself. What's interesting is that Sebastian canceling this skill of the Biscuit, unlike the first one. The patronage skill, attacks made by the owner, reduces the healing received by the enemy for 5 seconds. Reduces all healing by certain percentage. So this skill is cancelled by the Song of Sebastian as well. So if your opponent has Sebastian in his team, then the patronage skill will not work against opponent. So 2 out of 3 skills are cancelled by Sebastian, and at least on our server there are a majority of teams in defense have Sebastian in there. Let's look at what we have at maximum levels. So an average player will have Biscuit after event, maybe like 4 or 5 stars, and yeah, he will use it maybe with 100k of power in a few months time. So at these levels, with his power, the last skill will give you 18% of healing reduction. Slowdown is about 8 seconds. The damage is there is magic damage with from first and the second skill. It's pretty low magic damage. It will charge Isaac though, especially the first one, the splash damage. We can look at the maximum levels. So if you raise a Biscuit to the maximum levels, it will give you 30% healing reduction. With his patronage skill, it gives you 10 seconds of slowdown, and it gives you 37k of the magic damage for 5 seconds. That's very low damage. So what heroes may benefit the Biscuit as a patron? First of all, this is I would think about the splash damagers who have problems with healers. Those are Orion, Heidi, Keira. Maybe Drew can benefit from this pet as a team patron because he has a problem with Martha. Okay, so with this in mind, let's go and see some test fights. We have a defensive team here with two healers, Martha and Celeste, and also Oliver on Aurora. Plus, we have Axel, which increases healing of the whole team. Now, let's see how ODH, classical ODH team will perform against this team. With a new pet. So normally this team has problems with Martha and Aurora to finish them in the end. However, if a Biscuit can forbid the healing, then Orion should have enough damage to finish this team. So we use Biscuit as a team pet. Let's check the pets. So we need Merlin on Helios, and let's put Biscuits on Orion as well. So here Sebastian, he cancels patronage skill of the Biscuit, as well as his second skill, Snowball. However, we hope that Orion will kill Sebastian fast enough, and after that this patronage of the Biscuit will help us to finish remaining heroes. Let's go. So normally Andvari and Sebastian, they die first thanks to the Helios, because Andvari makes critical hits under the song of Sebastian, and yes, you can see that he's down fast. Okay, Celeste is down as well, however our front line is destroyed, which doesn't happen usually when we use Axel as a team pet in attack. Now let's see if King Biscuit will help us to block the healing here, block it enough. And we can see a timeout here. Another hero which in theory can benefit from Biscuit is Ju. Ju always has problem with Martha in the back line with her high healing and also resurrection of Astaroth. So here we have a classical Ju team, and what we want to test, this team has problem with Martha in the backline, as I said. So the team that we're going to test it against it, normally this Drew team will lose against it. Now let's see if Biscuit will help us. So we have Biscuit in here. Let's check the pets. We have Oliver on Astaroth, Fenris on Drew, Axel on okay. All looks good. So let's go for it. Okay, with a bit healing in here, and our Drew is charged. However, the snowstorm already disappeared. Okay, so what we need is very lucky timing when Drew makes critical hits against Martha, and the snowstorm should be on the field to forbid healing and resurrection of Astaroth. You can see that so far we don't have much luck, and there are always a few armor buffs on the field as a result of attack. With his first skill, Biscuit blocks first skill of the Oliver, as they have the same timing. So he's supposed to be good for our task. Okay, Jorgen is killed. But Martha is still there. And timeout. The second skill of the Biscuit is Mighty Snowball. Let's test it. It's supposed to help us against vampirism and other self-healing. So here we have a self-healing team with Dante and Dorian, and the problem which traditionally has a problem with vampirism is Corvus Morrigan. Let's see first how it works with Axel. Corvus charges damager of opponent, and charge damager fires back. An idea with Biscuit is that he's supposed to slow down the first hero who self-heals himself, and we hope that it's gonna be Dante. And if hero is slowed down, then he deals the damage slower. It means that he heals slower, and it gives us a chance to kill him. But first let's see how this fight is gonna work out. The outcome of this fight certainly can be random, because it depends on the critical hit chance and so on and so forth. Yeah, you can see that Dante wasn't very lucky. Now let's see how it works with King Biscuit instead. The first thing that we're interested in is when the snowball is on the field. First skill is activated, the snowball is still not there. And here we go. After 25 seconds, and you can see here the mark of slowness. However, by this time Corvus is already dead, and the team on the left has no chances, unfortunately, despite the slowdown effect. Another snowball, and again on Dante. So after 25 seconds, when he deploys his first um, snowball, they start to appear rather often, one by one, and yeah, the fight is lost. Now let's test the patronage skill of the Biscuit. In this case we want to use him on Celeste. So an idea here is that Celeste, with patronage of Biscuit, she will block healing of the Astaroth, and once Astaroth thrown back by Faceless, she will block healing of Karth as well. Also, when she applies her Curse Flame to the team, and if Martha heals at the same time, then there will be splash damage on the whole team, and the healing of the team should be additionally reduced by 30%. Okay, let's go. Celeste starts in the dark form, and with the first attack you can see that Astaroth is marked with Broken Heart. This is the patronage skill of the Biscuit. That's how it looks like. Now it's on Karth. Cursed Flame. And yes, the Karth is dead. Curse Flame and Broken Hearts on everyone in the team. It seems the patronage works well on Celeste in this case. Short summary. King Biscuit doesn't look like a must-have pet for me, at least not at the max levels. For example, his first skill is very timing dependent. What I mean by that, if you play against Martha on the last position, her totem is activated on the 19th second, and the skill of the Biscuit is activated on the 15th second. It lasts for 5 seconds, which means that Martha put her teapot on the field on the last second of the ice storm, and then she heals for 8 seconds. It means that in the beginning of the fight, Snowstorm pretty much doesn't block Martha. On the subsequent activations it can be certainly different. Regarding the magic damage which he deals, it doesn't look like a huge damage, so maybe it's not worth investing into the damage part. The second and the third skills, huge minus here is that both of them are cancelled by Sebastian, and majority of the teams on Arena have him. The second skill doesn't look good to me for a few reasons. First of all, it's activated late in the fight, and secondly, if you have a few heroes with self-healing, then you cannot predict who will be attacked by this snowball. Regarding the patronage skill, so we have a few types of heroes which could potentially benefit reduction of healing. These are mages and per damage heroes. For magic damagers, I think there are better patrons. For example, for Lars, Mara is definitely better. For other mages, it can be Merlin, for example. For per damage dealers, Corvus, Heidi, they definitely would benefit more the patronage of the Albus from my perspective. In some situation, you might have a few per damage heroes in your team. For example, Corvus and Maya, or Heidi and Liane. And in this case, you could consider, okay, maybe I will put Biscuit on one hero and Albus on another hero. The only hero which would definitely benefit from the Biscuit is probably Celeste, because it matches with her healing blocking. Regarding the bonus characteristics, magic attack and armor, yes, they both look good.